Thank you. Kindly be seated. Education and learning are the cornerstones of personal growth and societal progress. DAKSH is an annual education and career guidance fair hosted by the Student Council, Christ, deemed to be university. It focuses on the various opportunities made available to pre university, undergraduate, and postgraduate students. DAKSH is here to guide students to acquire knowledge and make informed choices regarding their higher education and careers. Through active participation in the stalls, dialogues with eminent speakers from various disciplines, as well as personalized career counseling sessions, students will be able to learn about various vocations and fields of study they could pursue. On that note, we welcome you to DAKSH 2024, the annual flagship event of Christ deemed to be university. I, Divyanshi, will be your MC for the day. As Abraham Maslow rightly said, if you plan on being anything less than you are capable of being, you will probably be unhappy all the days of your life. Please join me in welcoming our guest for this session, Ms. Gargi Chakraborty. We would also like to welcome our faculty coordinator, Dr. Padma Kumar MM, for giving a token of gratitude for your presence today. Our gift hamper is sponsored by Bistro Claytopia, India's first concept cafe. Bistro Claytopia is the melting pot of people from various cultures who share a common passion of blending art with food. At Bistro, they strive to give the best possible experience to all of our customers. They're committed to quality, value, and your complete satisfaction. Gargi Chakraborty, a seasoned clinical psychologist and psychotherapist, boasts nearly a decade of diverse experience in clinical practice and research. With a holistic mindfulness infused approach, she tailors programs addressing a wide spectrum of mental health concerns, showcased through her media engagements and affiliations with esteemed institutions like NIMHANS and Phoenix Psychiatry. Her expertise spans across child and adolescent psychiatry, mindfulness interventions, and varied forms of therapy for individuals, couples, families, and more. I request our speaker for the day, Ms. Gargi Chakraborty, to please come up to the stage to enlighten us. Due to technical glitches, the session will commence shortly. Thank you for your cooperation.
Hello? Hello? I'm audible, I think. Yes. Well, now comes that important juncture. When we are already aware that psychology has so many fields, and we know that in undergraduation level and post graduation level, we are standing in a position where decision is important. You need to make a decision, you need to make a choice that which direction you need to move ahead. We need to keep certain things in mind. Number one, what do I have? What am I? What do I need? What is the requirement or demand of this field? And where would I go? And there is another important factor, the financial security. How much will I make finally when I will be a psychologist? Because my dreams are there, my ambitions are there, and also I need to be decent. I do not have to be maybe nothing extreme, too much or too more. We are not going for any all or none principle here. So here comes that activity. So all of you have wrote certain things, certain characteristics. Anybody else? Somebody already mentioned three things. Anybody? Yes, please. Absolutely. Wonderful, wonderful. And anybody else?
Empathy, becoming kind and not becoming biased.
Wonderful. So the common ideas that we are getting, and thank you for responding. Thank you. So empathy, interpersonal skills, having a unbiased mindset, paying attention, all these things that you have said. Yes, if you think you have all these things, you are absolutely in the right platform. But not just this. And what do we think we have? Do we really have it or not? The reality check we will get if we allow us to open the doors and windows of our mind. Because thinking that we have it is not mere enough. We need to allow ourselves to explore and learn. When you are in the field of psychology, you need n number of such attributes, certain skills that are very, very important. And it is not just the personal qualities that you need a lot of professional skills. And where there is an interjunction between your personal skills and professional skills. And when you do that, then you realize there are certain challenges that are coming up, the challenges that you will face. And that is the main thing. That is the difference between the students that are sitting here and the students outside. Like a psychology student knows what is resilience, and you need to allow yourself to learn. And with due respect to all the branches and all the fields, all the other subjects, a psychology student knows how to bounce back no matter what, because that is what is needed consistently. Will come. And then there are ethical principles. We have to be very much sound about our knowledge of ethics and principles that we have, because that will give you clarity that is needed in every step of your career. Ethics will guide you. Now coming to the core specific characteristics, all of you can identify and see in the broad perspective, as you said, Yes, some of you mentioned empathy, some of you mentioned interpersonal skills and being unbiased. But if we bring all the things under the umbrella, this is the thing that you need to allow yourself to see whether you are having all these skills. Mere knowing it is not enough. Work on developing those skills, work on establishing certain patterns in yourself. The major thing that covers all these skills is the power of observation. So, when you will become a psychologist and you are coming out of the student mode and entering the work field, you will realize how much it is helping you. Be it like be you become academician, you become researcher, you become a clinician, or you become any other, you join any other new aspect or scope of psychology, but you will be needing a lot of observation skills. Then comes the major thing, empathy. And what do we understand by empathy? This is a term that all psychology students will keep learning entire time. Empathy. When you have to take and post graduation students who have already done internships, who have already faced clients, and who have started experiencing, that external world, you know how much patience you need, you know how much you need to allow yourself that despite your opinion not matching with the other person, you are standing there trying to take the perspective, trying to step into the shoes of the other person and be there and listen. Comes the active listening part. Yes, it will become your everyday life ka part, active listening. And what do we understand by that? When we are actively listening, we are paying attention, the whole amount of attention to the person, irrespective of the fact that our opinions are matching or not. And trust me, this is going to happen every day. And somebody mentioned about not being biased. Yes, the non judgmental attitude. Truth to be told, when you will be sitting in the chair of a psychologist, nobody is asking for your personal opinion. They are asking for your professional opinion, and often we forget that. And if a psychologist is forgetting that, that is something very risky. So you need to be mindful that am I developing and working on those skills? Yes, you need to. Because otherwise, if you are not non-judgmental, if you are not being able to have empathy, then that is difficult. So work on that. That these are the skills that a psychologist needs. And then comes the cultural sensitivity. When I first joined work, in my first interview, I was being questioned that will you be able to handle this area? This particular part of India is very sensitive, where people from all cultures and all religions and all backgrounds do come. We will not entertain any kind of disparity or misbehavior from your part. You have to keep your personal bias aside. And I was very glad because I am getting an opportunity to work in such an environment that is so much challenging. Saying it is easy, but every day facing that, yes, it is challenging, of course. But that is what a clinical psychologist or a psychologist or anybody actually need. But in our profession, this is a must. We need to be very much prone, very much equipped and immune to this thing. When a person, as a psychologist, you're facing somebody, the person is client, and client is everything for you. There is no difference. Of course, then comes the integrity part and the flexibility part. The more you are flexible, the better it is for you. And when you are not being able to be flexible, do not hesitate to reach out for help. Talk about your problems, talk about your hesitations. Do not expect that once a psychologist, will never have a problem. Before a psychologist, you are a human. So, this is a very important thing that a student of psychology needs to remember. Do not take the extra burden on your shoulders. Everything doesn't bestow on the tiny shoulders of yours. So, it's fine. And certain major practical skills that we need: critical thinking, problem solving skills, communication skills, and last but not the least, resilience and self awareness. Now, when I'm saying critical thinking, problem solving, we all know that, right? We read. In our exams, we do read and write it down. But how much do we register that? Because these are the pillars that will hold you when you will be going ahead. I'll share an experience. Communication skills, one of the major skill that please everyone start to work on. It's not just talking. So then, the experience that I was trying to tell you, I was working in a rural area in Bengal. It is a place which is where people from like people across Bengal and outside Bengal also come. And it is a very sensitive area. How sensitive? Because people are, so there earthquakes happen, there are challenges. Then people, it is not a big city like Bangalore. So it is a small town where people are not much aware. So there therapy or clinical, like people go to psychologist means they are either insane or they are either helpless. So it is seen as lack of self discipline if you approach a psychologist. So people try to hide it, people do not want to talk about it. Lot of things like that, many challenges, but despite that people do come. Now there are political influences also, there are a lot of other things. And with that, when a young budding psychologist is working, one client comes and with a very interesting, like, because psychology students do face this thing that, oh, varied spectrum of clinical symptoms this person is presenting, so wow, what an interesting case. But actually what happens, this person is coming from a background where they have expected to get well, that okay, I'm reaching out, that means I'll be cured instantly. So awareness is less. With that expectation and with a very strong background, social strong background, this person has come and is expecting to get better. Now, as a young psychologist would deal, I tried to give my best. Cut to next day. They come and they bang my table and said, I'm not good, I'm not better, I haven't improved. In such a situation, it is very, very important to focus on one thing, which we call non-violent communication. What is non-violent communication? Do we communicate always violently? No, we don't. But a very, very important factor of communication skills that a psychologist need to have, and many a times that becomes a tool also, a resource also for you in your part of work, is learning non-violent communication, where you need to keep your calm. Just because somebody is blaming at you doesn't mean that the responsibility entirely comes on you. You need to be patient there, you need to be answerable, you need to take that time out from your work to make sure that you are confident and confidently you are answering the question. You need to give clarity. Experienced people, teachers and professors over here, they know that yes, these situations do happen in every stream, every way. But students do need to know what it looks like while you are studying. It is not. Your actual training will start when you will step out into the real world. And what you are reading in your book will guide you, definitely. But allow again the doors and windows of your mind to be open to learn new things every day. When you will be allowing yourself to learn new things every day, you will be able to kind of polish you, and it is an ongoing process. Constantly you will keep blooming. Moving ahead, the resilience and self-awareness part, as I was telling, it's a continuation of everything. And that is the most important thing, according to me. Why? Because a psychologist, no matter in which field, needs to be very much self reflective. Because it is okay to make mistakes, but it is always important to learn from that. Otherwise, it is not helping us. And it's not just as a psychologist, but also as a human. I think that is the most important thing that we need to keep in mind. These, the next set of qualities or the skills that I have mentioned over here, these are the thing that you need in your work life. These are not just the skill set. In your professional skill, You need to have a willingness to continuous learning and keep aside the shame and guilt. Nobody will tell you this thing in books that, okay, a psychologist is a human first, not a god, not a superhuman, not an alien, not a magician. A psychologist is a psychologist, means a professional who have been bestowed with certain skills, certain qualities, have been trained in certain areas, and is designated to do certain works. But that doesn't mean that the work cannot go in a direction which was not predicted, and it is okay. And to learn and to gauge that all of the previous skills that I told, and the first one that I said, observation, everything is needed. And if we are continuously in the learning process, like to be again very honest, what is not there in front of your eyes, that is not there in your mind. That is so true. So every day is a learning process, not just from the experience, but also from the book. Might sound that, yeah, it's just okay, you are saying to read basically. Yes, I'm telling to read, but it is important part of your journey. Passion for making an impact. Yes. In psychology, you need to be unique. You need to allow yourself to challenge yourself every now and then. You need to allow yourself to come out of your comfort zone and face things upright. Collaboration and teamwork is a must because we are growing together. This mindset has to be there, otherwise it can come as a very big hindrance in your pathway. And psychology is a social science, right? So we are collaborating every moment, we are learning from each other, and the more you do, the more you grow. But when you are a psychologist and when you are passionate, when you want that, never forget the boundaries. In the next portion also I will be discussing, and when I'll be sharing my personal journey, I'll be telling you how much it is important to have the boundaries. And as a psychologist, all of you are probably aware of transference and counter transference. You are aware of burnout. You are aware that, yes, a psychologist in India sometimes do work a lot more than what they are getting in return. But no, India is moving ahead. We are growing, and with collaborative work and with passion for our this that impact to change. I mean, passion for making an impact. All those things are changing scenarios, and it is secure and safe career. And it is not just a fancy career. Many people come to psychology field because they have a fancy. When I'm moving ahead with the next chapter, I would also mention here a very important fact. This idea that suppose you have passion for a wonderful dress. You wanted to buy that wonderful dress because you saw some celebrity wearing that dress, and it's so fancy, so glittery, so glamorous. And just because that you have waited for that dress, so you have put effort to get that dress, you have a budget, you have a preparation, you go for that dress, and now when you're wearing it, notice whether you are finding it itchy. Is it comfortable? Or are you compromising on something? Are you liking the entire thing that after wearing the dress? Or are you finding it challenging? If not, please make sure you find out your comfort, the comfy sweatshirt that makes you feel cozy, that makes you you, not something else. Not because somebody else wanted you to wear it, or not because you think, okay, let me take the easy one up. No, question yourself what suits you. Back to here, relating it to this situation, many a times students come to us asking that my mother wanted me to become a psychologist, my family has like lot of specialists, so I also wanted to become one, and I find psychology is so interesting, so thrilling. That's why I have become one. Please don't. If you want to become a psychologist, ask yourself. Definitely, you will find the answer within, not because you have just taken it up, but with that love, with that understanding, with that practical clarity that yes, it has got its own limitations, challenges, and everything, but it has a wonderful world to offer you. Go ahead in this field. So, here comes some of the myths that is revolving around clinical psychology. I want to address it straight. I, being a clinical psychologist, I have faced that. I know many of my clients, many of my students have faced that. And in general, there is a hype. I'm not, like, with due respect to all the subject, with this due respect to clinical psychology field, every subject had have its own base, have its own strength and weakness. But there is somehow a myth, a hype around field of clinical psychology when many students think that if I'm not becoming a clinical psychologist, probably it's not good enough. I'm not good enough. I need to do it. Otherwise, they go through an existential crisis. They start questioning themselves. They start feeling, oh my God, my time is wasted. I've wasted my parents' money and all. It's not like that. Now, with the entire discussion, you know already that there are so many branches of psychology. You are studying in such a wonderful institution which is offering you so much of scope. So, clinical psychology is not the only thing. There are so many other fields where you want to invest and where you would like to allow yourself to see whether you have that knack. Excuse me. No problem. Yes. So, all the students who study psychology do not have to become a clinical psychologist. That is not needed. Know your own passion, follow that, and excel. Yes, some people do have. I have faced, I have experienced many of the students come up to me and say that we do not find interest in other fields of psychology. We want to become a clinical psychology, but also I'm confused whether to take it up or not. My teacher is saying I have a good, prospect in this particular other field of clinical psychology, but I am confused. No, well, none of the field of psychology is boring. All the fields have wonderful, amazing, adventurous, thrilling journey. Trust me. And there is a fancy that people, that students in while studying psychology, they have that passion, and many a times other people around you would come and ask you, oh, you are studying psychology, that means definitely you are seeing patients, huh? So dealing with clients and patients is the only thrilling aspect of psychology? No, not at all. There are way more thrills. And again, every field has its own aspect, as I am constantly saying that. The thing is, charm of a forensic psychologist, charm of a neuropsychologist. Imagine the work. Somebody who is passionate about neuropsychology, please do research. We need that. And it is your own, that is the thing, right? Your own self reflection and the scope that is offered. Try to find a, a parity, a balance between that, bridge the gap, reduce discrepancies, and find your own zone. That is the best thing that you can do to yourself. So, what are the feasible career options? Again, I would mention specifically as a student of psychology when you are studying bachelor's or you are doing post graduation, know that India today is offering so many opportunities to clinical, like clinical and non-clinical and all other fields of psychology. Like you have work in health sector, you have work in like academic sector, you have work in media sector, sports sector, and not just media and sports. You can become a legal advisory. You can be hired in government agencies, in jails, in prisons, in NGOs. You can be a social worker. You can be so many things. Having said that, these are the direct things. Now, nobody talks about the indirect things. Indirect things means what? Like after doing a bachelor's in psychology or a post graduation in psychology, we might wonder, okay, do we actually have to stick to the field? Now, sometimes people want to change career, or it's not changing career, utilizing this career into something bigger. I also I teach or I prepare, I groom students who are aspirants for civil service exams. Civil service exams do have a paper of psychology, and it's not just the paper of psychology. Civil service exams, like civil service who do that, they need psychology. They need to know because they are dealing with people. So a student of psychology have a very bright future there. It's a secondary aspect. Okay, this is not a direct career of psychology, but when people take up psychology, there they don't have the background, they don't have the training, it becomes difficult for them. It's a special subject that they need to take. Not all of them, it's a choice. But when people take up psychology, if they are good at it with a good background, they score high, there is a high chance of making that as a career. Okay, that's all. Moving ahead, I would like to share my journey. How did I become a clinical psychologist and what challenges did I face? And I'm sure many of you would be able to relate. And in our question answer session, please feel free to ask me anything related to this psychology career. It comes like the challenges and the thrills. So, till now, whatever I said, I have actually faced that. And as a student, when I was given a choice that yes, I will have to select a special subject back in my ninth standard, yes, it is a journey. I was before that, I did not, the usual thing comes, right? We never thought about being a psychologist, and some would say that I always wanted to become a psychologist. I am that person who is standing in the interjunction of that. I wanted to become a detective. It's a joke, I know. But I found that no, 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 not happening. My thrill is understanding human behavior. So I wanted to study human behavior, and psychology was the only thing which gave me some meaning at that point of time. And luckily, I got a subject which is very close to psychology, which is logic. I had to take that up as an additional subject in my ninth standard, and that's how my journey started. I got thoroughly influenced by books of Satyajit Ray, where I wanted to understand and observe human behavior. And that's how my journey started. And then the rest is history. I have taken up psychology in 11th standard, and then I did my graduation, did my master's, my MPhil, my research work. Everything is going ahead with psychology, and not a single day of regret. But everything is not rainbows and unicorns. No. First reality check came when I started studying MPhil in clinical psychology, when life became, life just turned 180-degree. How? Because what we think, the fancy world is not like that. Everyday duty, burnout, everyday challenges, learning new things, the work pressure will actually make the family members also question you. Do you really want to do this? Why do you want to take this much pressure? Why? No, this is happiness. This is fun. This is life. I want to become a psychologist. Okay, fine. Then came the next reality check in professional world. When I was appointed as a psychologist, I realized whatever I read in my books, whatever I have been taught, oh, that is just this much. The real world is here. When I'm facing that, okay, in a day, how many patients I will have to see, how many patients I will have to see so that I don't get burnt out, and so that I can go back and read about all my cases, how to make my documentations, how to maintain my finances, how to keep my cool, how to not go through transference and counter transference issues, how to go through counter transference issues or transference issues and manage it and face it and handle it, how to draw boundaries. All these things have taught me that yes, this is such a thrilling world. And when we do that, oh my God, this is such a wonderful journey. Being a psychologist gives you strength. Yes, it is like people would come and tell you, can you read my mind? No, we read behavior, not mind. Not in that way. We do read, but it's not like mind reading. Mind reading comes in the thought bias. We are not doing that over here. We are being observant, we are respecting our profession, and when you will become a psychologist, there will be such n number of challenges. So that's the main thing, that understand the realities of studying the field of psychology. Yes. So that's how. Then only you can bridge the gap. You need to know, you need to be aware how you can help people and how you can make sense of things. So that's all. Thank you.
Uh, Thank you, ma'am. We greatly appreciate your insightful session. I'm confident we've gained invaluable insights and extensive knowledge today. To our audience, kindly be informed that we're now opening the floor to questions.
Hello, ma'am. Hello. Hi.
Hello.
Ma'am, I had a question. So
Please.
all of our, most of us psychology aspirants here, they want to pursue, they have a plan of pursuing MPhil after this.
Yes.
And so UGC has had, so I had registered for Calcutta University examination, and then UGC came up with a notice that there are some colleges that are taking in students for MPhil trainees, and that has to be discontinued, and students are warned not to join these programs. And after which Calcutta University again issued a notice saying the MPhil examinations have been stalled. So at this juncture, after that, RCI also has not released any notifications yet. So at this point, we are very confused in our career as whether MPhil is a credible aspect. And if it is a credible aspect, what is the governing body, that is RCI, doing about it? So can you please shed some insight on regarding the matter?
Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you for the question. Your name, please.
My name is Auric.
Hello. Yes. So, this scenario, first of all, to all the students who are thinking and who are wondering what has to be done, I request you do not get scared. Number one. Number two, understand this is a situation where discussions are going on. Yes, there are questions that have come up, but trust me, nothing will just stop overnight or nothing will just change just like that. Yes, notifications have come up. Yes, confusions have come up. But MPhil in clinical psychology represents what? A hardcore clinical training. If this is like, if the people are proposing that they will remove this, people will come up, organizations will come up with alternative methods or measures or alternative courses that will give that much clinical training, and that discussion is going on with the associations IACP and CPSI, like all the clinical psychology organizations and RCI and UGC. I mean, there are meetings that are going on, discussions are going on, confusions will be solved, and examination. So what exactly the current status, if I can give you some, like, shed some light on that, it has been proposed that yes, this kind of my MPhil course, since MPhil course of other subjects have been dissolved, discontinued. But MPhil in clinical psychology comes with the training, right? The clinical training that is not provided. So the proposed other courses that has been proposed, like the extended bachelor's or the post graduation, students who are already in the verge and students who are already pursuing that will not be affected. So it is not like with immediately right now this will be starting. There will be time if at all any change happen, and still the decision has not been taken. So maybe examinations are stalled, but if like the MPhil in clinical psychology, still now it's running. It's not, people are studying and universities are taking examinations. It's not like it has been stopped. But understand, yes, confusion has come up. UGC did one notification was circulated, not one, more than one, and confusions were there. I understand, but it will not be taken overnight a decision, and all of a sudden the course will be stopped. With an alternative resolution that comes up, then only things will be changed, if at all the change happens. Number one. Number two, those who are already in that verge will, so that the students do not suffer. That's what the major point of discussion now going on. And there are bodies, government bodies, who are discussing that, and nothing to worry. So that's why I would request, be patient and don't get scared. This field is needed, right? This cannot be just eloped or something like that. uh, that is the thing. Hope I could answer your question.
Thank you, ma'am. Somewhat clarity.
Due to the
Anybody else, any other question, please?
All right. Ma'am, this is regarding during my time working as an intern in an old age home.
Hmm.
Um, it was very interesting to see the utter confusion with which they dealt with me there. I mean, the administrative office was very supportive of what I wanted to do and very aware that a lot of the residents required some kind of help, but they didn't know what my role was over there. So I think one of the pieces of advice I got was just be consistent in what you're doing, and know what you're there for every day. Now I was able to be consistent, but I didn't know what I was there for every day. Because when it came to my duties and everything, the office would just tell me, yeah, you go and sit with them for 2 hours. So practically, how do I deal with, the confusion of communities and this little bit of suspicion that they may have as to why I'm there?
Okay. So first of all, in such situations, like you need to first keep asking that this is a real situation that many students face, and many students have mentioned that to me also, that when I'm going for internship in a different organization, I am basically sitting, I'm not doing anything, I am not getting the exposure, or I'm not clear what they are expecting from me, and there is a hush hush, they are not clear. Better to give them in written a clear agenda that you have, that probably you want to observe certain cases, you want to learn, you are in a juncture. If you're a post graduation student, you need to observe a lot of things. Are you a post graduation student, undergraduation?
Undergraduate, yes.
Then of course they would want you to just observe, they won't allow you to handle things on your own because of the training that you have not received yet. That is one thing, but that clarity that you want will come with communication. And if people are not ready to communicate, and if you're finding that it is wasting of your time and their time as well, it's better to look for other opportunities. Yes. Any other question, please?
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon.
Thank you very much for clarifying on the booming areas of.
my apologies, but due to the shortage of time, we will be wrapping up this.
Okay, sure.
You spoke extensively about the booming areas of psychology apart from clinical, and how there are many other avenues of research as well as career opportunities in psychology happening in India right now. So could you please advise us on which avenue should we pursue apart from academia or just clinical research?
Apart from academia, what you can do is so depending on which field of psychology you are choosing. See, you can like in academia, you can do research, you can be a school teacher, you can be a professor. You have to accordingly, qualify the exams and get the proper qualification. And other than that, you can become a clinician, like a clinical psychologist or a counseling psychologist or a rehabilitation psychologist. You can become a forensic psychologist. And forensics are offering a lot of work opportunities and varied work opportunities, like you can get appointed in prison, you can get appointed in government advisory or government agencies, you can pursue criminal psychology, you can pursue criminal psychology, and that also have a huge role in and really people are getting appointed. And so and it's a good salary also they are offering, so it's not a very risky career, it's a stable career. Then there is like other than this thing, academia, if you are saying you do not want to, then people, the next thing that people usually do, they will go for clinical practice. Clinical practice is the thing, like in any form. If you are a rehabilitation psychologist or a clinical psychologist or a counseling psychologist, you need to get attached with hospitals, you need to get attached with different NGOs or organizations. You can become a school psychologist or an educational psychologist, right? And there are so many other options. So explore this thing. And to all the students, due to shortage of time, if you are not taking the questions, please write down your questions. You can, I'm here only. You can ask your questions. That is not a problem. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. I request you to take center stage, the center of the stage. Uh, I request Dr. Padma Kumar's MM to please present our speaker with a memento. We now invite Ispraha Belung to deliver the vote of thanks.
That brings the proceedings for today to a close. We are extremely grateful to our speaker, Ms. Gargi Chakraborty, for enlightening us and increasing our knowledge in the realm of psychology and the careers related to it. Thank you to everyone who contributed to the seamless operation of the event, including the teachers, management, and volunteers. Thank you all for being such a great audience. Have a wonderful day ahead.
That brings us to the end of the session. This is Divyanshi signing off. We request the audience to disperse in an orderly manner.
Still have questions? Ma'am is available for any.